want to be able to pull something up for your home. Like if you ask me for some evidence or like an approach or like a testing plan or something like that. I mean, of course, obviously I can't give you what we turned in, what we gave, what's in the database, something like that.
Hey, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy Caleb Isom here with another episode of my podcast called Sketching the Blueprint, where I plan on taking people's blueprint. It could be their story, their tips, their life advice, and we just talk it out to the audience, sketch it out to the audience, have candid conversation. Today I have a very special guest, man. I got my guy Chris right here, man. A very phenomenal guy, man. I've been knowing him for a minute, man. We went to college together, took a whole bunch of classes together, and we actually was on the same fraternity on the same line. So, I've been knowing Chris for a minute. And Chris, like I said, he's amazing, man. Everybody know anything number related, don't go to professor, don't go to the book, go to Chris, because he's going to get you right. And first off, I want to say, man, thank you, Chris, for joining me, man.
No, appreciate it. Thank you for having me, bro. Like you said, we go way back, bro. Like, we had a couple classes at UGA before we even, knew each other for real. Joined the fraternity, joined Alpha Fraternity Incorporated at the exact same time over at UGA at the Zeta Pi chapter. Yo, that was probably the most fun I had in my life. Got some good bonds for real. Yeah. And you the man though, for real though, bro. But I appreciate the introduction. And I said, thanks for having me, bro.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. And Chris, the reason why I created this podcast is because today we live in a generation of an era of information. Like you can receive information in a split second, and I want to push out a lot of positive information for the younger generation. And when we was in high school, we didn't have this. You know what I mean? Like if you wanted to find out what a career was like, you had to actually, wait till you got in college or wait till you actually got the job. Whereas now, we can help out the younger generation so they can see I don't want to do this job, or I might be interested in this career field and then pursue it. You know what I mean? So give them the chance to look at career fields ahead of time. But yeah, let's go ahead and get straight to it though. Today's episode is what it's like working in financial services. Let's go ahead and get to it, man. Chris, go ahead and give him a quick introduction, my guy.
Hey, man. My name is Christopher Beatty. Most people call me Chris. From Atlanta, Georgia, mostly around the Decatur, East Atlanta area. So that graduated from Columbia High School in Decatur off of Columbia Drive. Hey, it was fun over there. My first sport I played was soccer. So that's probably one of my first passions. I'm really into sports, as Caleb is. But I know he was, as y'all probably know, he hooped. I did not play basketball like that, but I will get out there and I'll play any sport. And that was really, I would say, my first real passion and my drive to collaborating with people and everything like that. So I would say that that really drove me growing up. Then I went to the University of Georgia in Athens. Wasn't really sure what I wanted to major in, but I knew I wanted to be number related. I saw accounting, I saw finance. I was thinking engineering, but it just kind of spoke to me to be able to speak the language of business. That's what it's called. So I basically graduated from UGA 4 or 5 years. The extra year helps out a little bit, but I also had some other interests in college. Really, I wanted to get into other managerial skills, other technical skills. I wanted to get into a little bit of coding, a lot of project management, just a lot of skills I knew that would help me build my acumen no matter where I took my career. And I would say that's really been a focal point of my life. I've always tried to be like a jack of all trades, right? But that doesn't really help you go any further unless you really kind of put the work behind that. And so going to UGA, it definitely did seem like I was going to the flagship university of Georgia and everything like that, but also I was still going to a run-of-the-mill state college and everything like that. But my biggest takeaway was get the most out of you can out of that opportunity. You know what I mean? in order to get there, like I had to have an extremely high GPA. Like I will say, it was pretty easy, at my high school for me at least. But that's just a matter of like different curriculums, and we could talk about that too. Like, but that's why I think like this whole podcast wave we've had the last 3-4 years, like you said, getting that information. Like it
Yeah.
used to be like radio where you could have that type of platform, you know what I mean? And of course there's TV, but we know that's kind of a different avenue altogether, right?
Yeah.
But no, I think it's a great idea, bro. Like I look at the questions and everything you sent me. Of course, I ain't prepared no answers for everything, but I appreciate that too.
Oh, yeah.
And no, I'm looking forward to it. But that's a little bit of an introduction to me. I guess I wrap it up by saying like I work at Bank of America right now as a senior auditor. It's been a fun time over there. They have a great development program in that auditing space, and so I've got to touch a lot of the different products and that they kind of offer, and also I've got to touch a lot of like about how to manage that, how to manage the risk behind maintaining and holding everybody's assets. At that point, it's a lot of risk and it's a lot of assurance you got to have with that type of stuff. But like I said, we'll touch on a lot of that stuff later. But
Oh, yeah.
that's a little bit of introduction.
Oh yeah, man. I think what I like what you said is like you have to put in the work. Like a lot of people nowadays, man, they don't want to put in the work. They want instant gratification. You know what I mean? They want everything instant. And,
Sure, I've been there.
yeah, for sure. So like I know you said, when you got to college, you was like a jack of all trades, trying to, test out everything and see what you like. Like when was that moment when you was like, oh, financial services is for me? Like I'm gonna solidify it.
It really go back to high school. Like I said, like it's a lot of like pieces that I feel like as a student, as a person, you really are like developing. You really honing. Like it's just a big difference between going to like the middle years before you're off on your like on your own at 18 versus like 12 and 11 when at middle school and like grade school, all that's important and like your development as and then like your reading skills and all that different type of stuff. But what you actually want to do, sorry, somebody call me, but that really shaped out like between that 10th and 11th grade because ninth grade was, I ain't gonna lie, high school is not, it's not easy. Maybe I misspoke earlier, but it's a lot to handle. You manage a lot of different subjects, managing a lot of different teachers and expectations. And if you're an athlete like I was, you might be managing like 2 different sports. And I say manage it, but I really just mean juggling, keeping track of, because you want to get some type of satisfaction out of each one of those things for sure. You know what I mean? So I would just say around that 10th, 11th grade, if you're proactive, you're always trying to think about what you want to do when you're 18, what you want to do when you're off on your own. And off rip, I knew I wanted to be doing something that I could create things myself. You know what I mean? I wanted that type of, I would say, independence. Like I wasn't always like a artist, but like I like to have that autonomy, if you will, right? And although working on a team is very important, like bouncing ideas off each other, as you know, like we joined a fraternity at the same time, like it's very important. Like you want everybody to be leaders, but at the end of the day, you got to be your own leader, right? And so that's when I think I took the most initiative in looking at what I wanted to do for real. And that's when I knew it was either engineering, which is what I had immediate interest in, building stuff and, like I said, projects and stuff like that. But I knew I didn't like certain aspects of it. I didn't like 3D modeling, for example. I didn't like keeping up with measurements. As much as I like numbers and math and everything like that, I wasn't good with geometry, I would say. So I think that was something that kind of deterred me. And I would say that's not something that should have, because I would say you can develop anything you want to. As soon as you think you want to do something, no matter how hard it is, you darn near can like get good at it. Unless you're just terrible at it. I mean, everybody has weaknesses. I'm not saying you know what I mean, you can't flip a weakness to a strength overnight or anything like that. But I could have, I think dealt with that or something like that. But like I said, if I'm saying dealt with it, that means I would have had to like, see it as something that wasn't desirable at the time. And so at the time, I saw money management as a big focal point in just the overall success one has, for themselves, their family, the country. Like I know y'all see the economy kind of like having its up and downs right now, and I would say that's kind of what told me I knew I wanted to be in the financial services. Either I was going to be managing my money, doing taxes, which I know I was going to do taxes because that definitely sounded right to me. But I knew I was going to be doing something in regards to like assets and equity or something like that. That's what spoke to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I like about your blueprint, man, your story is like you was figuring out things along the way. Like it wasn't just right there when you first started. Like you said, you was looking at engineering. You tried it out, the models. It just wasn't for you. Then you went on to look at different things and ended up with accounting. So I like that, man. So you said you're a senior auditor now at Bank of America. First off, congratulations on that, man.
Appreciate it.
And you
None yet.
and you graduated from the University of Georgia, Terry College of Business, J.M. Tull School of Accounting, right? And do you feel like that helped out along your journey?
Girl, yes. Like I thought, it's the expectations you set for yourself, the expectations your family set for yourself. But at the end of the day, it's the expectations that are set in front of you to achieve what you want to, right? So if you go to any college, it's gonna be obviously some type of like grading system and all that good stuff. Like difficulties in like certain areas of like the schools, academics. I mean, like some people complain about the sciences here. Some people complain about, there's a vet school at the UGA. The accounting school is pretty challenging. It's challenging, but it's also you saw I said challenging twice, but it's also kind of, I would say, realistic. I would say I never ran into a professor who wanted me to fail, like never, and that's crazy because I did have to take like an L or two, like you know what I mean. So, but I never ran into that, and as like the black population is what, maybe 8% now, maybe 7%. So I didn't see a lot of professors that looked like me.
Yeah.
I saw a mix of genders, so it wasn't really like I could see like a consistency in the professor I was trying to get, but that was the consistency I saw across the field. It was the people who I was working with, other students, my cohorts and stuff like that. They were all driven. They worked independently, but they were also respectable. And that was the kind of like the same kind of vibes I got from my professors. There was no easy class. There was no class in which somebody said, oh, this is going to be easy. Some professors started teaching day one, but they also started offering office hours like as early as possible. They also, like it's there. It wasn't like a thing where it was like, oh, I'm trying to fail you. And I would say it wasn't even like you would go into a test and I admit it'd be 3 hours and you'd be like, I would say those are the things that you need to look out for. If you know you're not good at tests and this is a very test heavy subject, it's not for you. You know what I mean? Like science, that's numbers heavy, that's studying heavy. Like if you're not into that, you wouldn't want to do that. So I would say that was a big deterrent for some people, but for me, I was always sort of good at taking tests as long as I like study for it or as long as I like reviewed the subject. That's kind of how I've always been. So I thought it'd be somewhat of a cakewalk, but I also didn't know that the test would be 3 hours. I didn't know that, it would be so like information dense and so application heavy. Yeah. But that really prepared me. That really prepared me to be able to learn something one day at work and be using it by the end of the day or tomorrow, because that's what type of I would say like adaptability you really got to have in any field, but especially this one, because like everything's changing so fast. The tools we're using, it changes every year, and you got to keep up or you won't seem valuable to like the people who really employ you. You know what I mean? And to yourself too. So either you keeping up or you're like kind of like experimenting and developing new ways to like solve problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So like nowadays you can't just like know like the job and how to crunch the numbers in. You got to actually know the softwares because like you said, it's changing.
Exactly.
What I mean? So that's big. That's big, man. What other degrees do you feel like that'll help out in the accounting? Like, does it have to be accounting? Can it be like me, like economics or science, or what other degrees that help out with the finance mindset? That with putting the numbers, looking at.
Off rip, I'm thinking obviously an MBA is always a good. I see everybody I work with have MBAs. I will say though, you don't want to get one of those unless you have a plan. A plan to what you, or at least a couple of different like routes in which you want to take it. Because you don't ever want to get a degree or something like that, or try like start a degree rather, and you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this, because it's like, yeah, that could end you in a good place, but it's like you want to either have interest in the topics that are going to be discussed or what's at the end of that. You know what I mean? And so that's what I'll say first and foremost. But other degree, economics is good. Finance, financial planning, great. I know Tony, one of our profiles, did financial planning. He's doing really good. So um, I'm thinking it's another good one. Marketing is a good one. But like I said, all of these, you just gotta look at them, right? You know what I mean? Like you gotta really look at them and see what you want to get out of it. Engineering is good, but you have to think about also the skills that you need to kind of keep up with those type of classes. And I think it always just ties into your interest. Like that's consistently what I be telling my managers when we have one-on-ones. It's just like, yeah, just trying to manage, trying to build my skills up, just trying to make sure everything aligns with my interests, because that's what they're trying to do. They only want to put you in a place to succeed, and that's what you want to put yourself in. Like, you don't want to, like, you don't want to go trying to be a doctor, and if you hate like every single science class you take, you know what I mean? It's crazy to think that that's like how you got to think about it, but it's like you wouldn't want to do that, right? Unless it's something you want at the end of that. So I just say you got to think a little further sometimes, like you said earlier. Like that's kind of what I've been doing, but it's gonna be obstacles and twists and turns that kind of like change what you want. You know what I mean? And I think those are for the better, I would say.
Yeah, I think that's really big, man. Picking something that you got interested in, because I know a lot of people they pick something because the money is good. They get into the career field, now they hate it. You know what I mean? It's like me, saying, seeing barbers getting paid good. Now I go to barber school. You know what I mean? Now I get into cutting people hair. Now I'm miserable because that's not what I want to do. It's futile. So it's like, why put yourself in a position like that? So like you said, you got to think further ahead. So that's really
That's a good example, bro. Because you're doing it every day. Like you
Hey,
cutting people hair
every day, after hours, 8 p.m. all day. Like my barber,
Yo,
he be there all day, start at 7, won't leave till like 9, 10. Like it's
I
crazy.
know they get banked, but still, if you hate
Yeah,
that, you're not gonna like doing it, bro. I promise you.
right. Um, so that's cool. So like, I know you gave us a little brief example, but can you like break it down, go more in depth, like what it's like being a Bank of America auditor and senior auditor as well? Uh,
Yeah. So I would just say the auditing space is just like a branch off from accounting, as far as I know. And so accounting is like I mentioned earlier, like the language of business, and that just means like there's a simple accounting. I know I'm branching off, but I'm gonna bring it around. But like there's a simple accounting equation, and I don't want to mess this up, but it's assets minus liabilities equals equity, right? Right?
yeah.
Oh man, I don't want to. Okay, yeah. So, and that just means that what you own, like that's not like a loan or something that something you have, like a house or a car,
Yeah.
minus what you owe, is what you have left, and that's for a business that'd be like stuff that they can invest in. So like stocks and all that good stuff. For you, it'd be extra money like savings and if you have other investments or whatnot. And so first and foremost, that's the basic accounting equation. And so that's why they say it's the language of business, because you essentially, if you were running a business and you selling product or service, you're making money, or you're trying to keep track of what you're giving people. And that's also something that people say, like, don't go, make sure you go get a job in which you're doing something that you like to do. Like, think about how you want to help people. And that's what you're doing too. You know what I mean? Like a podcast, I know it's not something they like, you straight off rip just want to like make money off of or something like that. But you have a job. Like, you know what I mean? Same as me. Like, but it's something that you really want to like do because it'll benefit other people, and it's not going to just be one person looking at this. You know what I mean? It's not going to just be, what I mean? So nonetheless, like that's what businesses are, and that's what you want to keep track of, like what you are making and what you're doing. And so auditing is a branch off from that, because you're just checking what like you've accounted, what you do, how you control the risks that you have. And so that's really one simple way to think of it, because at Bank of America we have this like acronym. I'm pretty sure I can say this, but I don't think it's like proprietary or anything like that. But it's just a way of thinking. If there's something you do, it would be a process or a processes there, right? And it would just be maybe get out of there. Stop. I'm not too busy enough to see you. It's my dog, sorry.
No, you good, man.
So but it could be, and then like also just there are other branches from accounting too. It's like risk assurance, and that would just be you focusing on a lot of risks that pertain to a customer or something like that, and creating projects that aren't necessarily done each year, but are like pop up from from cases or whatnot. And so, but auditing, like I was saying, is more so focused on maintaining a good control environment, and that's just maintained with knowing the inventory of what you do, how you do it, the risks attached to it, and how you prevent those. And it's a whole thing. But the more you do, the more money you have, the more stuff you have to like. And there's like regulations tied to being at like a bank. You know what I mean? Because it's like you can't hold our money, and the government's not going to let you just hold it and like. Because you know what banks do? They reinvest the money. You know what I mean? There's a reason why they want your money. But so nonetheless, like that's what I'm in charge of. Not what I'm in charge of, but that's what I help do, because it's a few other senior auditors, and it's like a whole hierarchy, as you know. Like there's we have a general auditor who basically takes on the responsibility of saying that she maintains the quality of. She basically reports to the CEO, Brian Moynier. So that's kind of like who we would all be doing our work for, and that's what I explained is her job, but that's what we're helping her do. You know what I mean? And that branches off from directors and everything like that. But that's what I help with. It's been okay so far, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yo, man, I know that role is very significant, and like with dealing with risk and stuff, every business like needs to deal with it. You know what I mean? Like every company needs to look at it. If you try to be successful for now and the future.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
So they need like auditors and accountants and what I mean, all that. So I haven't said nothing yet, I don't think, but I actually work in the financial services as well. I work as accountant, at a credit union, and I know how it's like when the deadlines is coming up and you got a lot to do. Your boss is throwing a lot at you. Your boss throw you an ultimatum. Get this done right now. You know what I mean? And it can be stressful at times. Like with you, bro, like how do you deal with the stress at work at Bank of America, or the pressure? Like how do you deal with that?
I would definitely say mostly, first and foremost, take yourself out of your role. You know what I mean? Like this all ties into like you have a life outside of it. I know this has been a big thing lately. It's like everybody talking about it. Like you got to focus on your mental health. You know what I mean? It's all ties like this. This is your job, but it's your life at the end of the day. And if you want to keep them separately, but you want to keep them both content, right?
Right.
So I say make sure you do that. That's what I'm gonna do. Like we get PTO, and you should get some personal days and sick days and all that different type of stuff. But actually getting into like the actual work and the stress tied to what you got to do. Use your resources. And I mean that like bro, like, and I mean that in the sense of like reach out to who you want to talk to, who you think can help you. Don't be afraid to ask somebody no questions. Don't be afraid to use the resources that somebody sent you. Like we have a database that houses like policies and procedures. Like I'm gonna make sure I tap into that. And if I don't understand that, I'll make sure I tap in with somebody who I've worked with, somebody who I know personally. And at the end of the day, tap in with who is checking off on your work too. Like, you know what I mean? Make sure you see what their expectations are. And that's really how you develop great relationships with people. Because that's how basically who's gonna talk your language. You know what I mean? Who's gonna really know how to like explain something to you, who's gonna really know how to put something to you in a truthful, straightforward manner, or however you like to communicate. That's really what I mean. You know what I mean? That's how you get your tribe, because at the end of the day, you go into a business, or pretty sure in like whatever, like like however you got your role, you know what I mean? Like you didn't just get thrown out there. You got introduced to a team, and you know what I mean, and everything like that. And you kind of work your way like up, out, like outward. You know, you kind of like made your place. You know what I mean? And that's what I want to like encourage everybody to do as early as possible. Even in college, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to go failing on tests just because you don't know where to study, who to study with. Like, you go to class and there's somebody right next to you. You know what I mean? Like, and your professor too, like I talked about. And I get it. And you may be shy, or maybe it's kind of hard, or maybe it really is like nobody who can help you. And at that point, I definitely say, make sure you I don't know, like hit Google. I hit Google. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, because what I really mean is like problem solve by yourself for yourself, right? But use the resources that are like literally put in front of you for you, because like that's what they're there for. And I think that'll make you feel better. You know what I mean? Because I think that's what stops people from feeling helpless. Or that's what stops me, at least. You know, it's like I reached out for help. You know, I tried to help myself. I mean, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, and that's how you really get to the bottom of things too. Like, every question is not going to have an answer. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, you really got to think about that. If you have a hard problem and you run into people and they don't know how to help you, you might be onto something, bro. Like, for real. So I try to think about that too. Yeah.
Yo, man, and I think the most valuable word, you know, the valuable word what you said was resources. Like, we got to start using our resources. People don't use them, man. You know, nowadays it's a thing like with therapy, for instance. People don't go to it. I guess because their ego, or you know, it's a lot that go with. It's a lot that goes into it, but you know, people just don't use them, and it's like, why not if it's there? Like you said, you know, use your resources, PTO, vacation, take them. Don't, you know, have your job, you know, swallow you 24/7. You know, have some breathing room. You know, and really just use your resources, talking and having the communications with your boss, and you know, really trying to you know, just chop it up with your boss. You know what I mean? Just see, you know, what's going right, what's going wrong. You know how it is. So yeah. So next question is, man, let's get off the top of the finance for a split second, man. You know what I mean? I'm gonna ask you a mysterious question. You received $1 million, bro. Like, what you gonna do with
it? Dang, I wouldn't have expected this question. This is a good one. Okay, cool. Bam. So you got to think about this smart. Bam, straight off rip. I don't have that much debt, but that's just it's going away. Straight off rip. $1 million, it's all going away. I don't credit card, everything. It's not a student loans. Even if, honestly, I would say even if it were a lot, and what I'm saying is a lot, it would be like 100,000 or something like that. Like maybe, you know what I mean? A lot, like, you know, maybe even 50. 50 is a lot to people too. So like that's gotta go, bro. So anyways, get that out of there. Then you think a little bit more fun. I definitely say the housing market is weird, but since you have a lot of since I have a lot of sitting cash in this one, definitely get a house. I'm getting a house, and I'm making sure I get a good rate too. I'm not getting nothing sub 6.54, something like that. Nothing sub 4 really. Yeah, yes, because it's like I said, equity. You want to set that right, and then get an asset in an equity. You don't want to get any liabilities with the money. Why would you? You don't have to you don't have to get any loans. So, something fun. Honestly, bro, I probably have to get my mom's a house or something, bro. I ain't gonna. Is $1 million a lot, bro? Maybe I'm tweaking. I'm probably tweaking. Maybe wait. If I don't say my mom needs a house, that sounds kind of messed up. Look, bro, we'll just go back. Take a step back. It's only $1 million. It's only $1 million. I'm gonna just invest a little bit, pay off the loans, get my mom's, dad's a little something, bought a house, so I have something that's sitting asset and equity. And the rest, like I said, it's either getting invested or something. Like I try to think I'm smart with money. I might go throw some money a little bit, do something. I'm not gonna buy nothing crazy. Like that just seems like so much money. You would think that you'd be smart enough to do the right thing, right? And so I'm thinking definitely a good house, pay off my mom, stuff like that. And I think that's really only gonna leave me with like less than half, probably like way less than half, or something like that. You know what? I'm buying a new car too. All right, next question. Next question. Like,
It's big. Hey, and if you ever, Chris keep talking about assets and assets minus liabilities equals stockholders equity. If you want to know more about that, bro, read this book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, bro. Like I read it. He explains it good. What assets, what liabilities, investing. It's very simple. So everybody can understand from it. So yeah. So I know you, Chris. I know you said you from Decatur. You said your high school was a little easy. You said earlier. Then you said that you got to college and it was like it was tough. You said that
yes.
you had to take 3-hour tests. I just know you had to deal with a lot, bro. Like everything you had to deal with. What was your biggest failure and how did you overcome it, man?
Great question. Bro, I saw this question earlier, and I was like, I don't know what to say, and
I know you been through so much, man. I know you got something.
I know, bro. Like, so what I was trying to think about for this question was something that was like something that could like really like be relevant to other people, but also original, really like original.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really want to go with something like failing the class, like I mean, I definitely understand like you want to pick something that like connects with you. So that did connect with me because I did fail like 2 classes, and I was like, damn, like this is crazy because I never thought I would do that. But I would say it wasn't even my biggest failure, but like, man,
It's up there though.
Ooh. Yeah, no, it's up there like crazy because I really don't even want to say that. Okay, you know what? I got it. So I'm gonna give you
That's
like
crazy.
another
Why would
one.
you think that you failed the class, bro? Like knowing you, like
So okay, I got one. So I was gonna say like me not getting like my first job that I thought I would get like straight off rip. Like I think junior, everybody trying to get their job wrapped up by junior year, so like they can kind of coast senior. That did not go as planned. I had to
not at all.
I had to get a job through the school, which was still a good plug. Like it still said accountant, like an intern, and all that good stuff. So I was,
Man, I was
I was
look, man, I was
like,
trying to get on out there. I was trying to get out there with you, man.
if they had space, it was a really small team. Like if they had space for it, I would have been like, bro. I know. I think they did. They had some other student interns.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
but nonetheless, like that was a good plug. But like my biggest favorite though, probably be just I would say not finished in a double major. I thought I wanted to really get into. Like I don't know if I told you about that. It was a big thing because I went to UGA and I was like, I think I'm not getting enough out of this. Like a bachelor's degree, like that's good. Like like
Yeah.
the like stats and everything. Like you're good, but you really want to get your master's, your doctorate.
Yeah.
You want to go, yeah. And so that's when I started to really feel the pressures of, you know what I mean. And I was thinking, okay, if I'm not going to get my master's in accounting along with the bachelor's, because you can do that like in 5 years, I was like, no, I'm gonna just get my bachelor's in something else that's as challenging as, but also as helpful, in like a business perspective. So I tried to like double major with MIS, and I also tried to like finish the whole major in like a year. And I was like, dang, it doesn't sound too bad. Like, not thinking that, most people do their majors in 2 years, I think, or at least a year and a half.
Yeah.
And so squeezing all that in there, basically was finishing like my most challenging classes. I ended up having to retake the class that I told you I failed. And then I ended up, yeah, then I was like, okay. Then I ended up failing, or no, I don't even think I failed a class in the MIS major. I was doing good. But one class I was doing so bad at, I just ended up withdrawing. And I was just like, you know what I mean? Like at that point, I was like, okay, if I can't even finish my original major and then also do another one, then it's like, what's the issue here? Was it like drive, or was it just too much juggling? I was like, okay, look, I want to be an accountant. I want to go into auditing. I want to go into something involved in the financial services field. But I may not really be wanting to go into like a computer engineering role right now. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I had to boil it down to, because I was taking classes like Java. Like I honestly had only heard of Java in passing before then. You know what I mean? And they're really intuitive classes. I mean, it's not to like scare anybody away from them, but I would say that was definitely like my biggest failure because it was like my biggest challenge, if you will. That's why I would, you know what I mean? That's why I kind of was trying to think of because none of those individual classes was like my biggest challenge. College, you know, going into like the professional world, that was kind of like your biggest challenge. Like, what are you going to do? You know? So I would say that it just felt like a wrench in like everything because I thought I was going to be able to like just sit there and just do everything. Like it didn't matter. I think we were still doing like shows at UGA with the chapter and everything like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just it became a lot. Yeah. And so I would say I just wanted to make sure I didn't affect like my confidence and my drive. So I just ended up just dropping that major, finishing it out, and that summer I got that internship as well. It just everything started to pick back up. You know what I mean? And I think that's definitely when I was like, okay, like I'm gonna have to have like higher standards for myself, but also realize that I can't do everything, especially if it doesn't purely interest me. And so, I mean, some people will disagree with that, of course, but for me, it wasn't it right there. You know what I mean? And I think I'm doing okay now, especially in like a sense of like satisfaction. You know what I mean? Like, so definitely still challenging myself now. I got been trying to get this altered certificate, and I already like I've been like designated as like advanced in like SQL, and I've got to lead projects in a lot of different technical areas in that automation and data quality field. And so even now I'm saying like it's still a challenging field for me, but I've got some projects under my belt in that area, and I plan on doing it more too because I would say that's definitely I still have that same mentality of like trying to be like a jack of all trades or somebody who can really like talk to a lot of different areas but also be able to apply it, you know, and that's kind of like that type of drive I got from being in that freaking like Tull School of Accounting. Like,
and what I like about you, what you just said is like, you know, there's different routes to get to where you want to get to. Like you knew you wanted to be an accountant, you know, and you wanted to pick up this MIS degree. It didn't work out, so you went a different route. Now you're trying to get the certificate. I think you just said, you know what I mean?
exactly.
It is like it. You know, there's different ways to get to the destination. You know, you don't always. You know, it's like driving. You don't always have to go the straightaway. You got the straightaway, you got the highway, and you got the back roads. You know what I mean? Just to get to the same destination. So that's what I like about you, man. That's what I like about what you just said. So yeah, so you know, every industry got some myths. You know what I mean? Like, of course, with us, you know, they say like, you know, we got it easy. We just sit in, you know, air conditioning, and then just type numbers, right?
Yeah.
And that's what everybody say. But if you look at the statistics, right, 40% of people hate math. So it's like to work in financial services, you would think that you got to have a little, you know, thick skin. You know what I mean? When you look at the statistics. So like, what other common myths do we have like dealing with the financial services or being an auditor, senior auditor?
So I was looking at this. I don't know if you heard of the Fishbowl app. I don't think I told you about it, but it's like this app where you can like anonymously like comment and like put a post about like the job and the corporation you work for, like the places you want to work for, all the different type of stuff. And a question popped up. It was
so it's like a mini LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's like a not so like buttoned up LinkedIn, exactly like that. Yeah, and so and you can be anonymous too, but like say like you can kind of like sort of like prove you work there at least. You know, I think they actually do that. They prove it through your work email, so it's pretty solid.
Like,
you know what I mean?
LinkedIn and Reddit put together.
Yeah, that's exactly what somebody told me. Exactly like that. So yeah, like a LinkedIn and Reddit mix, and it's pretty smooth. Somebody was like, I don't know if they were asking if the myth behind accountants and accountants being like boring. Yeah, that was the thing. They were like, do y'all feel bad about the connotation behind being an accountant and people thinking that you're boring? And most people were like, nah, like because I'm a fun person, and that's not the like answer I expected to see. I thought people were gonna be like yeah, I don't really care, you know what I mean? But people were basically saying like it doesn't really like matter, like what my job entails, as long as I have a fun life, I mean, that's half true. Because if you have a really boring job, like, it's going to affect how you go about a lot of things. But the other half of it is like, if you go, like, if you are the president or you in the Congress, like, or something like that, you might have to stand and, like, say, like, one word for, like, hours at a time or go through a speech. It might be boring, but, like, you still do it. You still do it. You probably still do it well. And it really may not be boring to you. And that's what I say I'm starting to realize. Like, if accounting is boring, because I don't know, like, what your perspective is. Like, because I'm not really in accounting right now. Like, but I also had experience with it. And it was a little bit, like, I wouldn't say monotonous, but it was repetitive. Like, we're going to have to go through the same financials each month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that helps with stuff, though. You want stuff to be that way so you can find errors and stuff like that. So it don't have to be no auditors. You know, every business is not gonna have a big old auditing team and everything like that. It's gonna have an external auditor come through and rip apart everything if it's not right, you know. So I will say that's a myth. Like, for me, it's like auditing is not like mad boring. People aren't like, it's almost opposite. Like, people aren't like mad mean. Like, we are the nice people, bro. We go in. I mean, of course, I'm an internal auditor, so it's a different experience. But I won't say this encompasses everybody that I work with, but we are generally speaking the nice people who come in and be like, yo, so it's just my job. Like, we just need this, or like, I know you sent this over, but it's just really not going to do. I want to make sure we're all covered here. It's like, we really try to, at least as far as I've tried, like, I really try to be that person that's like, hey, look, I just need that. I'm sorry, bro. And people really like ignore it, like all that different type of stuff, like short answers. And I'm like, I mean, like I said, it can go both ways, but I would say that's a myth for sure. And then just working in the financial field, it's obviously a myth that everything involves like numbers and money. Like we talked about earlier, like risks, processes, customer like satisfaction. Like it'd be crazy stuff. Like I literally had to do like automated data pools of what was it, of SLAs. I forget what that stands for. It's like a standard. Anyways, it's like basically a timeline of like when you need to respond to something, do something.
Okay.
For something that was complete, like a purchase or something like that, or notification you might have to send to somebody because their account's closing. And so there are certain regulations that say like you got to send something between like 5 days or up to 15 days, you know, to let the customer let it get there, let the customer know before you close something or something weird. And it's like that's a very big focal point of what I saw like with my first audits, you know. Okay. And so it's not just about like money and all that different type of stuff. Like at the end of the day, like you said, this is a useful career field because it's not just the ability to like manage money. And of course, I even thought that's really mostly what it was. And sometimes I want it to be just about that, but I would say it's not the hardest thing to do, which is pretty crazy in itself. You know what I mean? Like that's not the biggest risk out here, you know, all the time or something like that, you know. But I guess that makes sense. You know, everything's not about money, but like for real. That's probably the biggest myth right there.
Okay.
Like, yeah, you know, because like banks bail out like all type of businesses when they kind of go under. I mean, of course, that definitely relates to like money, like what do you call those? Like certain levels of liquidity, like certain liquidity levels that like banks got to hold on. All right, different types of stuff, but there's like I don't know. So maybe it is all about money. Dang, never mind. Maybe that myth is gotta stay. But what we do is not always tied to like about money. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Not everything is tied to money. Not everything is boring. Sometimes, you know, people will say, you know, their job is boring, but you know, their outside life is boring, so it's causing their work life to be boring. So they let the outside life bleed into their workforce. You know what I mean? So watch out for that too.
I do want to say also, sorry to cut you off. I want to say like what I was trying to say about that is, bro, you never know what a career holds until you know what it holds. Like I would say a lot of the people who I work with, who like I report to, or who I've just like who's been a project lead, or who I've worked with, you know what I mean? I'll say they have a lot of like strengths that I want to work on. They have a lot of stuff that I never even thought would be a strength in this field, like tenacity. Like you have good voice. You know what I mean? You ask questions. I'm very inquisitive, and I gotta make sure, and I do make sure I like factor that into my job because that's a good skill to have for my job. And so that's what I mean. Like I never would have thought you never think some of the skills you have and you could develop or you like to develop would fare very well in careers you never thought of. That's what I mean. And so I think that's a big aspect of why you got to think about those myths in these fields because it's not always what it seems, basically.
Right. Like you said, sometimes you just got to experience it.
Yeah, exactly. Or at least look it up. Like that's what I was doing. I was Googling it. I swear.
Earlier, use Google. Use your resources.
Yes, bro. I was literally Googling in the engineering class, like, bro, what am I gonna do? Because I can't do this class no more. And of course, I could have slowed down a little bit, but that's the type of person I am, bro. Sorry.
Yeah. And let's get off finance again. Got another mysterious question. What is one idea that you think the majority of people get wrong? It could be anything.
What do you? Do you know how open-ended that question is, bro? You know. Okay. Okay. So an idea that people get wrong a lot. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna kill you because it's gonna be relatable, but it also just relates to something I think about a lot. So I don't really like driving. Like I really don't, but I like the aspect of it. Like if you get in your car, you can take your ass anywhere, bro. Like you know what I mean? Like I mean, obviously you can do that on a plane too, but you yourself, I can't fly a plane. Like so, I like that aspect of being able to like get up and go. Like I always like that. I like to be in motion. That's just me. And so I basically just told you that I didn't like driving, but I like it. So I like that aspect of driving, but I don't like having to like look right, like you're from Dawson, right? But you've driven in Atlanta, and I don't know how traffic is down there, or how driving down there, but like it's ridiculous, bro, and it's crazy. And so let me just get to it. I think that people get the wrong idea about people like driving. Like I don't think that. I don't want to contradict myself. So I'm gonna just say like I think that people think that most of the people like who are driving behind them, beside them, and everything like that are just out to like just get them, like out to like you know what I mean, like cause an accident, like stare at you wrong, and I really honestly don't get it. Like I think we're both like optimistic people, you know what I mean, like. And I get it. I've had road rage before and everything like that, but I don't want to get into that topic. But like, because that gets crazy. I've seen some crazy stories, but I think that people get the wrong idea. Like, if somebody cuts you off, I promise you, they do not like. 9 times out of 10, they do not want to fight. Like for real. They just had to get over there. Like, that's like it's just the logic of people. Everybody going to the same place or different places, and everything is just in disarray. And I felt it. I feel it in my heart too. Like. Somebody cut me off like just yesterday, and I was thinking that was rude, like you know what I mean. But I didn't honk the horn because I was like, well, they was in that far right lane, and it's traffic, so they really just had to squeeze over there as far as they could to make the left turn. And so I just wish that everybody had that same mentality. But if everybody did, everybody would, I don't know, probably drive slower. I don't know. I don't want nobody driving slower, so I don't want people to like clog up the streetways or anything like that. But I think people get the wrong idea about just everybody being in so much of a rush that they don't care about people driving beside them. And I think there are people who do that, but 9 times out of 10 people I've seen, they would rather drive carefully than like cause an accident, obviously. You know what I mean? Or like I don't know. Or like have you missing the light just because, although I assume that a lot. I assume everybody in front of me, if they slow down and I miss the light, oh yeah, they did that on purpose. But that's wrong. That's wrong, bro. Like, you gotta calm down, bro. Be like, not saying be happier, but just be more like chill, bro. Yeah. It won't happen, but people have the wrong idea about that.
Yeah. Nah, that was good, man. Because where I'm from, people cannot drive, so it's funny you brought that up. Okay, so like to be on top of your game and be top of the top. Like, what is your like morning and nighttime routine like to stay in shape, bro? Like to really, be clear headed, clear minded. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And have
okay.
you starting the day off right? Have you in the correct mindset, the mama mentality, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean?
Good plug in there. This right here. I don't drink coffee. Don't
Okay.
drink coffee. I do go to Starbucks sometimes when you're with somebody who likes to go to Starbucks, or just I have a Starbucks at the plaza, so I go. I drink it every once in a while, but coffee is not touching my stomach. It shouldn't touch my stomach is the first thing. I'm sorry, as you won't, and especially mixing it with milk. Like I drink Lactaid. I don't know if that's better than lactose milk, but it's okay. And so I would say not that. Water gets me done. A shower. If I didn't shower last night, of course. I mean, obviously that's just like a sedentary thing, but that always gets me up. That's some of my like old roommates and some of my like our profiles would definitely say like I might play some like loud music to get me up. And the saying like you could just be running some loud music, but you on your corporate job and it's just your mind is up. Like your mentality is up. I'm really connected with music. Really, like that's really what it is. So it's that mood that really like you doing something. So I would just say, yeah, do something that's gonna get your mind up. I don't know if people read books. I don't like. I might if I'm like if I'm like up really early, I will throw some more up on TV, but it'll be like as I'm getting like ready for work. But for the most part, it's just the water. Make sure you eat. If you have to think, just go ahead and eat, bro. I know some people don't eat till like later on, till like lunch. I mean, if you can open up your laptop and start typing and thinking before eating or drinking some water, more or coffee, I don't know what you've run on. You know what I mean? Like, it must not be energy, but
Yeah.
those are my big things. And trying to think about something like structurally, like because I like that's a big thing for me. Like making sure I gotta go. Making sure I keep some structure. I would say my dog helps with that too. Just
Okay.
like I have to, you know what I mean. He has to go outside, like so. I gotta make sure I'm up with enough time to go take him outside and feed him. Like it gets you thinking when you got to think about somebody else. But a big one I would say I heard from his girl one time was, make your bed. Just do something small that's gonna have you as a mental image of you doing something that it was. I like to clean and I think that tied in with just seeing a mental picture of a made up bed, just the pillows, the covers, whatever. Like what I mean. I think your workspace, your living space, that's always gonna tie into that type of stuff. Like right
Yeah.
now, it's not a mess in here. Well, there's some spots in here where I would say like, damn, like this, it could be completely clean. You know what I mean? But I had to move some stuff around to get this little setup. But and I'm about to move out, so
Oh,
like no
yeah.
excuses or anything like that. But I'm just saying like I would say that's a big thing of like making sure I like have that mental picture. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I throw my bag on. I don't leave without leaving where I like slept and had a great time or whatever last night without looking good. Like, after I brush my teeth and what I mean. I'm like because when I get in the office, bro, I literally fill my water bottle up and I'm gone, bro. I'm drinking like water all like at least for the first 2 hours of my day, for real, before that lunchtime. Because I mean, if you didn't eat breakfast, you definitely want lunch. So unless you want to be thinking about that lunchtime, just get stocked up, on energy and all that good stuff, on vibes.
Yeah.
What I mean? That's gonna keep me up for real. It's gonna keep me up and productive. Like you need both of those.
Okay, man. Okay. Okay, man. Yeah, and I try to do the same thing, man. I try to drink a lot of water too in the beginning of the day. Really start the day, really get the water in. You know what I mean? Just helps you feel better and it helps you think logically better too as well. Um,
For sure.
man, I create this podcast to help out the younger generation. Um, what's 3 tips that you have to give to the younger generation, man? What's 3 tips? It could be. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do uh, 3 tips for the financial services. Then let's just do 3 tips like outside of financial services.
That's smart. I'll mess with that. All right, we're gonna deal with the definitely the financial services one first. Sorry, me like over a cold. Y'all know the time. Goodness gracious, I'm gonna be good before our trip, bro. So Hey, you gotta get it out for that.